Okay, are we ready? Are we ready now? Do we think...
Yeah.
You're dressed, I'm dressed. All right. Welcome back to Grim Advice with Gretta Myers and Hazel today. You've not entered the grimoire, even with 2 M's, because we're not telling a story. That kind of story today, at least. We are going to play some story dice. Right, Hazel?
Correct.
All right. Here we go. So here's how it's going to work. I'm pulling up the app on my phone, and it's going to give us a couple of pictures, and we have, what, say, a minute to come up with a story. We're going to do one each. And then we'll see what happens from there, right? Ugh. All right. All right, do you want to go first or me?
You go first.
All right, I will go first. All right. Okay. Time starts now. Okay. All right. Once upon a time, there was a girl. We're gonna call her Cynthia. Once upon a time, Cynthia was getting married. However, the priest decided to bail on them last minute because of a Facebook post that she made. He didn't like it. In fact, he gave it a big thumbs down. And so when they were going to pick up the dress, he texted her and was like, "Not gonna be there. I'm out, fam. Peace, bye," because that's how priests talk. And so then they're like, "What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? This is so bad." And so they're going to get the dress. They're like, "Okay, we'll figure it out on the way." And as they're going to get the dress, they get the dress. It's a beautiful dress, and they pick it up, and they pick up the dress, and it's a beautiful dress. I said that, but as they're picking up the dress, Cynthia's mom, who was with them, her phone died, and she's like, "We gotta go buy a portable charger because I'm also the photographer and I take pictures on my phone for some reason." And so that's what they do. They're going to like a gas station, 7-Eleven type of deal. And while they're there just so happens to be the wind starts blowing and it starts raining really bad. And as they're like at the gas station, and it starts really wind, this other priest pulls up, to get out of the storm, and Cynthia's like, "Hey man, are you doing anything in like an hour? 'Cause that's when my wedding is, and I need a priest." And the priest is like, "That sounds like a great idea." The end. And they got married, and, well, not the priest, but Cynthia and her sweetheart got married, and the priest was appreciative, and the other priest got hit by a tree. The end. Alright. Okay, you shake the phone to roll it. Vote in the comments below whose story you like better.
This is gonna be hard. I got 2 of the same ones as you. Okay. So, this dog found. Okay, hold on. Let me think. Okay, so once upon a time, there's this dog, and this dog has been to the pound about 3 times.
Oh.
And he escaped, and when he was about to get caught, a woman who's, like, just very lonely saw the dog and saved its life. And so basically, one day they were lying in the grass, her and her new dog, and she looked at the clouds and she just felt sad, really sad. And so the dog tried to cheer her up with many different things. He opened the laptop, showed her Facebook posts. And then one night she just said, oh, man, I wish I had someone else. Oh, come on. It all got switched around.
That's what you get for shaking it.
Should we just cut this word out and
No.
insert the next word?
Tough luck, kid.
Okay, fine. Fine, I can work with this. But the dog still exists.
Of course
We're
the
just
dog
gonna
still exists.
cut off this talking part. Okay.
No, we're not.
Anyways, and
You get to suffer.
one day, because of her sadness, not being with anyone else, she almost got hit by a truck.
Well, that got her.
But the person in the truck came out and asked if she was okay. And basically, it was just like magic. And so basically the dog took the guy's truck keys and ran off with it. And, and he ran to, the same place where she wished for someone else to be with. And, then they got married and had a kid named Lucy.
The end.
The end.
Alright.
That game is so hard.
It is a hard game. You know, let's start this next segment of the video off with a yang. Alright. Some of you might be wondering at this point, why the heck are Greta and Hazel dressed so weird? There's a good reason. Okay. It's actually a whole story. A very fun story. And let's start at the beginning, a very good place to start. Once on a time, there was a girl, may or may not have been me. That part doesn't matter. And one day, a bunch of the stars aligned to remind her of her childhood and how much she loved grim fairy tales and stories in general. These two things, the two things that we are here to talk about today, right?
Correct.
The two main factors, other than this little girl, not so little, this young fair maiden, no, whatever, wanting to tell stories, you know, because she missed telling stories to kids, because that's what she did for her job. And then a pandemic happened, and that couldn't happen anymore. And she was very sad. But let's talk about why this little girl, maiden, woman, this female heroine decided why she was super into grim fairy tales at the moment. First off, let's talk about the obvious answer. Why we're dressed this way. You see, as we are sisters in real life, we found kinship in a show in which there are two sisters, Ruby Rose, and Yang Xiaolong. Yes, my friends, I am talking about the sort of American anime, I don't know what to call it, it's like, it's a cartoon TV show thing?
Cartoon
Anime?
It's an animated show. We're just going to leave it at that.
There's a whole debate about that, but we're not getting into that right now.
It's a mix of genres.
It's a very good show called RWBY. However, it's spelled weird. And if you watch it, it'll explain why. It's spelled RWBY. Go look it up. And yes, I am breaking all of the rules in this episode, because it's the 100th episode. And if this video gets taken down, it gets taken down. But I will stake my claim here in the YouTube vampire, I don't know. But yes, it is a very good show, and it deals a lot with fairy tales. And all sorts of stories, not just fairy tales. Though it does heavily deal with fairy tales, and a lot of the characters are based around fairy tale concepts. However, it also deals with history, legends, myths, and like all these other things that I'm like, I could analyze these two next. And I might. But it does heavily deal with fairy tales. In fact, there are creatures in this show
called Grimm.
Called the Creatures of Grimm. Grimm. Yeah. And they're very spooky, very fun. Fun-looking characters. Good character design. 12 out of 10. And I love this show. This young female heroine loves this show. And that is a main factor as to why this channel is centered around Grimm fairy tales and other stories, because this show brought love of story back to this young female heroine through dark times and stuff. You have anything to add, Hazel? Ruby?
Not really.
Alright. Okay. The last story I'd like to tell you is a very deeply personal one. Let's go to... Yes. I'm about to bring out props.
Hold on.
And also break all of the copyright things that I try really hard to avoid. But here we are! I'm not claiming any of this work as my own. Obviously, these works are not my own, because here they are, published and signed by the author, who is not me. Yes. Hazel will show them off to you while I explain. Once upon a time, there was a young female heroine, a young girl, because at the time that this young female heroine, I don't know. Just show them. This young female heroine was a young girl at this time, and she discovered a book series. And it became a very important book series to her. You see, this book series took all the Grimm fairy tales, the grimmest of Grimm fairy tales, and did not leave out the gory parts. Certainly did not. There are several scenes in this book series that I'm like, that this young heroine was like, yeah, that's not for kids. However, the author happens to just be a very funny person, and told these stories in a light-hearted manner, even though, still respecting how heavy these were, and how heavy the idea of kids suffering like this was. But he handles it well, in my opinion. Yeah. I got to meet this author. This young heroine got to meet this author. And she was fascinated by these books. As a young girl, she read them and was kind of perturbed by them. But, they stuck with her. Especially in the, holy crap, that was gory kind of way, Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But then picked them up later as a young female heroine. And felt just kinship because, life is tough. And it's especially tough on kids sometimes. And a lot of adults are like, no, kids, especially because no one wants kids to go through stuff, because nobody deserves to go through that stuff, especially awesome kids. However, life does not always spare the children. And so, for such books to have these kids coming out on top, even though they go through so much, and just told in such a funny manner, not taking the humor out of it, and just, the stories are masterful in this young female heroine's honest opinion. And as she got to meet the author and get it signed at a festival at her local library, it was a very special day, very personally special day for this young female heroine who may or may not be me. So yes, this is I don't know if the series has a particular name, but if you just look up Grimm and then, I don't know, I'm pretty sure it's Gidwitz, how you pronounce it. I could be wrong though, it's happened before. Yes, we have A Tale Dark and Grim is the first one, followed by In a Glass Grimly, and the grim conclusion, and of course, in every time it's, Grim with 2 M's, right? If you're watching this channel, you're already used to that. But I highly recommend this book, and so does this female heroine, who may or may not be me. If you at all enjoy grim stories, humor, and don't mind a little blood and guts, and a lot of blood and guts actually, but I promise the books make up for it. It's good stuff. And even though part of me really wants to be like, these shouldn't be in the children's section at the library, I think it's important that they are, because again, as much as we want it to not be this way, children are not spared from suffering. Yeah. Even if it's even if it's something little, like friends moving away, or being picked on in class, or really just not understanding a concept being taught, or feeling lonely because being an only child, or whatever the case may be. The world's hard, and I think these books do a really good job of representing that, and also saying you can come out on top and still be an awesome person, and you can be funny about it, because humor is important. Humor's important. Alright. Do you have anything to add?
Nope.
Do you want to do one more round of story dice before we wrap this celebration up? And yeah. No? Alright. Alright, my gremlins. Thank you so much for joining us for this celebration, and trust me, this might not have been what you were expecting. However, that doesn't matter, because we are planning big things for the ultimate grand finale, this wrap-up of this grim arc, before moving on to something else, maybe, hopefully. We're planning big things. Big secret things. Surprised that even she's so surprised because they're so secret. But we're very excited that we've made it this far, and excited to keep going.
Very much.
And we'll turn new pages together. Soon. Very soon. Alright. And... yes, and comment below what you thought of our hastily made up stories, of our store-bought and very mashed cosplays. I made this one myself, and Hazel
Bought it online.
well, okay, I didn't make the wig, but everything else I bought, and she got everything online. Comment your thoughts, your opinions, what you had for lunch. We want to hear from you. We're so excited and grateful that we've come this far, and we're excited for bigger and better things. Out with the yang. See you later, my gremlins. Alright, we're ready to do this to celebrate this.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Greta, we're not ready.
We're not. You're gonna have to just give it. How could have we?